Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to the Glorious Might League. Today, you are joined by me, Laffinator, and Albie on the chair too. Say hello, Albie.
Hello.
As we are going in straight into picks and bans for games 1 for VHS versus for Hakai. I need to move that thing out of the way. Oh no.
Good job. We're already off to a fiery start over here.
Hey, look, we're just testing a new feature like that. When new features catch our eyes, we gotta pay attention to in like the first 5 minutes before things happen, right?
Yes, my dear viewer, as you can see, we're moved on to a different form of picks and bans. Slightly different. You might not even notice it. But, yeah, it's looking good. Anyway, who are you
Definitely a
favoring
lot
over
more
here?
cleaner.
Yeah, it's a bit cleaner. Who's your favorite here?
In terms of teams, I mean, after the camera performance that I witnessed last night from Scrim, Big Joe kind of looking big. I tried to segregate that into a pun. It didn't work. Big. What am I supposed to do? It's just big and Big Joe.
Yeah, the biggest of
big.
Joes.
Yeah.
Anyway, I've heard through the grapevine that there's a couple of role swaps over at the side of Hakai. Also, VHS doing a bit of off-rolling, so it's gonna be an interesting one for sure.
Just slightly skimming over the bans as we seem to just
Mhm.
completely have ignored them. We do have normal bans coming out from both teams as expected.
I mean, this is
and
just
we see,
standard bans all around.
yeah, just standard all around, and we see the Camazot's priority pick. Camazot's priority pick coming from VHS, which is just something I'd expect. Of course, Camazot's being a very prevalent solo lane, a very proven to very well shown be very good, as he can just be an absolute disruption and menace, and even a very big good lane bully to even top solo laners like Guan Yu. So
Yeah, 100% agree.
Yeah.
After like the Fabulous nerfs, people are looking a little bit less at the Guan, and this Kama is just such a disruption in the solo lane, and such a disruption in the team fights, that if a good Kama player can just run the game on its own.
yeah,
So,
and I
not surprising.
mean, even along with the Fabulous nerfs, we're also seeing, we've seen the rise of
Ooh.
Tainted Steel, and we've seen just a lot of sustained meta. So whether we might see a Tainted Steel come out from an enemy solo laner, say a good Cullen or something to combat that Camazos is possible, but we do see Hakai here picking up Vulcan and Capri. Of course, those are also two standard gods, but Vulcan, not something that's been too heavily favored with the players, but of course, still a very strong pick. One of the best mages in the game, potentially, but especially if it's used in the right hand.
Yeah, this is a destructive god. You did get a slight nerf on the 2, an extra second on the cooldown all around, but I don't think that will impact the god way too much. But yeah, I really like the Capri pick over here, especially as Capri is just really good at shutting down the Camazots if he really wants to single out a person. So I do love the pick, and then Vulcan is just a strong pick all around, while we meanwhile see a Kabrakan and a Yuhuang being hovered on the side of VHS.
Yeah, I mean, Capri abduct, for abduct, if there's no DR stack supply, being able to have a 2 seconds window to be able to focus the target, which can matter a lot in a team fight, especially against the Camazos. If you don't have that beads readily and available, or if you're caught out without a battle at hell, that 2 seconds is a long window for a Camazos to go down, especially if he's more favored on the damage side more than anything. Which
I don't think a Kama should survive 2 seconds.
From this world.
Which in a lot of scenarios that we've seen so far with Camazots, a lot of them have oriented a little bit more towards damage more than thingy. We've seen Caduceus Shield, we've seen Glad Shield, but that's kind of, and of course we've seen Warriors Axe as well, but that's kind of where things kind of leave in terms of Camazots, in terms of tankiness. The rest typically going into damage like Roller's Beatnik, or
a Heartseeker maybe even.
Yeah, even Heartseeker.
And we do see another good pickup on the side of Hakai after VHS locked in Kabrak and Yuhuang, the Ishtar. We've been seeing this a lot more in the duo lane.
Yeah, and I mean, there's a good reason for it. Ishtar is just a very... I would say she would be the best ADC in terms of current placement as to how the meta.
She's up there though.
She's definitely up there. She's definitely top 5. not really sure if I want to say the best, because there are still things that can definitely counter her and keep her away, but, you know, in a crit meta, and when we have Devos giving flat pen, of course, Ishtar has her wand. She could just flex into whatever really arc shots, whatever she wants to type flex into, which can do a lot of damage.
They
Even
will
with
all obey
the crit
their
reduction on the
goddess.
AoE, still very good.
Yeah, I think Ishtar is just such a 1v1 god, which also doesn't have a bad late game team fight that she's so prevalent. I do see a bans coming out Tyr on the side of Hakai. This mainly to ban out Izus. And on the other side, Lance, a standard ban. Even though they picked a Bracken, which is a bit weird to ban out Lance then, but still, if anybody can disrupt like a good backline is Lance, and then Cupid, which is also a non-brainer, very strong to dueling.
Actually, I'm kind of interested in this tier. It seems like the Hakai don't really think that this Camazotz is going solo, so they're opting to ban tier away from Isus. Why do you think that's the case? Why do they think they have the judgment that Camazotz is going jungle instead of solo for the moment?
I think it's more like a safety ban. If the Camazotz is not solo, if it's jungle, and you do get a tier on the other side, a tier is very annoying for a Capri to deal with. Being fearless while you could be getting a good Capri off is just something so annoying if you're playing Capri. And it also is a good chase potential for the Vulcan. It can stick to the Ishtar well, so I think this is a decent ban all around. While we see a Shiva locked in on the side of Hakai. What do you think about this Shiva?
Well, Shiva's on. I'm kind of interested to see how this goes. Shiva's not really a character that's currently he's okay. He's like kind of middle ground for me, but he's a little bit on the iffer side of the middle ground because he's not bad per se. He just ends up really struggling late game. I mean, Axe is okay on him. He's lost Soul Eater. He's lost Bluestone, Sword Hob in a sense. So there's a little bit of a struggle for him, but he still does okay. But I'm not exactly sure how well it'll do in the Camazotz. I feel like the Camazotz will just be way too dominant, and that Shiva probably very likely won't be relevant. But I could be wrong, of course. My judgment always ends up somehow being wrong. A lot of time. A lot of times it tends to somehow be wrong. Case in point, the Dorsey Ares.
Yeah. I mean, you never bet against an Ares. Ares is one of my picks for most slept-on god. But we see a hover and a lock-in for Ravana, and still a hover for the Chernobog. Now, we see locked-in. I'm a firm enjoyer of Chernobog, and I think he's actually really good, and also a decent pick into the Ishtar, as he can just kind of wiggle out of Ishtar's damage, and she doesn't. Chernobog is a god that can just decide, I'm not going to 1v1 you. But also there's Raven here.
I mean, Blades of even though Blades of Retribution, of course, a strong 1v1 ADC tool, mind the background noise, sorry. But Blades of Retribution, yeah, it's a strong team fight ability, it's a strong 1v1 ability, and Chernobog can just enter darkness and say, nah, I'm good, you can keep those blades to yourself, I don't really want to get stunned, I can even prevent the cripple. Hey, there goes your ultimate ability. That kind of sucks to be you, unfortunately. And Ramen also being picked up, still kind of screaming to Hakai, well, you don't know. You still don't know which one's the jungler, which one's the solo laner, because both of them can play that role, play both roles effectively.
Yeah, it's still a bit of a mystery about this VHS draft, as we do see Loki being covered. Now, I mentioned role changes for Hakai. Lina is playing in jungle, and this is like the most Lina pick in jungle ever. I think this is probably her favorite god in jungle. And if you were wondering where the other players are playing, I think it was that Joe is playing in mid, Azza was playing in solo, and Mike's playing ADC. And Cheetah is obviously in support.
That would match up with what we see on the lineup here, yeah. Joe is in playing mid.
Oh, it's not been updated? Oh, my bad. Didn't see that.
Yeah, it occasionally fades. It's the new thing.
Yeah, that's the new thing. We didn't have that before, right? Or am I tripping?
Yeah. I mean, we had the lineups before, but we never had them fade or change between them. We do see the Loki logged in here. Something not really too picked up in the jungle, but something that's not a bad pick either. But now that we're seeing the full comps of both comps,
Hmm.
as we go into the game, which comp do you feel is the most favored so far?
Which comp do I favor? I don't think the Loki pick is really effective here. I mean, Lina can prove me wrong. Depends on how hard Hakai run it down. It's interesting. I'm gonna very slightly favor VHS comp, just because I love the Kama and I love Chernobog. But I would not be surprised at all if Hakai take this game, specifically in the solo lane. I think Shiva is one of those gods that can fight Kama pretty well, and the the Capri is always there to like negate something. If a Capri can have a good game, you're not gonna have a lot of fun.
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly something interesting that both of these comps don't really. They have a clear, definitive strong point, but they also have like a lot of comp. Like both of them have a very definitive early game in some aspects, and some of them
Hmm.
have a definitive late game in just a lot of different character aspects. So it's hard to pull apart what will be effective and what will be, well, whether it'll come down to the player difference. As we
Hmm.
actually see Izus just spiting a little bit more than he can chew. This
Ooh, he
Stain of
might get
Steel
pulled.
on
Ooh.
Shiva and trying to group the wave, just taking just a little bit too much damage. But he will walk away just healthy. And that's something interesting. Yeah, I think we're seeing that the solo
Oh, is
laners
he
of Shiva
gank here?
do see a level 2 rotation come out, but nothing from it. And Izu still level 1, will fall, and first blood going to the jungler liner.
Hmm. Yeah, as I thought, this solo lane is gonna be a bit of struggle for Kama. Kama just takes a little bit of time to get online, and Shiva is one of those gods that a little bit to get online is just a little bit too long as well. So this just sets up Lina and I think more like Aza perfectly up to have a good laning phase here.
Yeah, I mean, I think Kama just looking to bite off a bit too much more than he could chew, and it seemed like that Azo was willing to focus him during that early game, where he tried to use, I presume, Screech to group up the wave, hit Azo, group up the wave, and clear it, but unfortunately, Azo just responded to that and has Shiva 2 available, and that's just going to be his demise as he focuses him, unfortunately. And yeah, it's not looking good for Izus, unfortunately, where Kama is
Mhm.
looked for that early pressure. That's currently swinging in the favor of Shiva.
Yeah, this dual lane is also a bit surprising. The Capri the Capri is actually a pretty surprisingly dominant lane god with his two. Same as Ishtar with the one and shooting all those creeps together. But I really thought that the Bracken would get more pressure in the dual lane.
Well, that's the thing about. I mean, you could probably get away with level. You might just about get away with level 1 with Kraken with Tremors if you, of course, level Tremors. Gonna have to interrupt that a little bit. Soulsea falling just a little bit low, but using Celestial Flight, just able to get out alive from an Inferno Cannon that almost took his life away, and away
I would
from an
have
auto
definitely
attack
killed
and a
him.
Magma Bomb. But turning towards that is what I was going to say is that yeah, you can get away with like Tremors level 1, especially if Kefri unless Cheeto is big brain enough to go abduct level 1 or something instead of opting for his 2. But I mean, in terms of clear, it does heavily favor towards, unfortunately, Hakai VHS
Mhm.
because no, I'm getting them mixed up in favor of Hakai because I'm reading like I'm looking at
Script. Yeah.
the scoreboard and then I'm seeing the other scoreboard. It's conflicting me. But it does favor Hakai unfortunately because Ishtar just with the AoE auto has one of the best level 1 clears in the actually kind of does contest Rama in a sense with how their level 1 clear goes. She's just able to walk up, she's able to AoE the archers for 60 in auto effectively, and
Mhm.
that's just a lot of clear and you can't contest. So that's why of course, when you go with it, when you get that Ishtar, when you can pick up Ishtar, you can just go for any kind of support you want, really. You can look for non-aggressive picks, which are like, say, Kepri, and of
Interesting
course,
gank.
Kepri always been good, and you can just get away with picks like that. Do see a little bit of rotation from Kong, but nothing able to be met, and duo lane, especially the Kabrakan, just looking a little bit too unhealthy to look for an initiation. And we do see a little initiation in the mid lane as well. Getting Salty low, just a little bit low, but not enough to keep him away, though they do have ultimates available, both Earthshaker and Assassinate, but just keeping it on the safe side for now. I mean, 4 minutes into the game, do you want to take a chance at Dragon Tower? Big Joe, now out of position, having
Has
his
the
own ways,
beats.
forcing the beat, Conga
Conquer
onto
still has
Chase.
ult.
Still have
Oh.
Mystic Rush available. Here's the 10-hand Shadow Fist, but not looking as Earthshaker is thrown at the wave. Does hit. Looked like it was aimed at Kong, but salty, but
Lina
not enough
steals
to
it.
hand.
And picks it up.
Lina does get an assassinate onto Izu, steals the blue buff, and I don't think she meant to take that, but take away with the spoils of war, I guess. As some usually saying like some war quotes or something. I don't know, like spoils of war. Yeah.
That's gotta be rough for the camera, like not having the blue buff. I mean,
Yeah,
he's going into
especially.
trance though, which kind of gives him the MP5 needed to sustain just a little bit.
Yeah, until he gets Transcendence and he starts getting those mana stacks, it will be a little bit rougher for him. But he shouldn't be too far away from it now. I mean, he does have a pretty low net worth at the moment, and we are seeing, well, already a almost 2k gold lead. So that Transcendence could be delayed for a little bit, but it shouldn't be too far away. So we will see those, hopefully, mana stacks soon, and that blue buff will matter a little bit less. And we see the Shiva able to get a full Soul Eater, so only off stack missing, so that sustain is coming online almost pretty quickly, actually.
It's 100 to stack, isn't it?
Yep. Yeah,
That's...
now nerf changed to 100 to stack, which is now the longest stacking item in the game, even if it provides stacks for both.
Yeah, I think it still stacks faster than most of the other ones because of the assist. And we see Izu's going into the air, trying to get some damage on just like Asa, but does not result in anything. Izu's still low, but has to clear the wave. Meanwhile, fight in mid is looking interesting as Liosaurus will farm.
Tectonic Shift already pre-used beforehand, but doesn't seem like it'd prevent any opposition from just continuing to walk at him, a Loki, and saying, "Hey, you're dead. Bye-bye."
Yeah,
I'll leave.
I think what happened was just basically Lion decided, oh, let's assassinate him, and at the same time, let's just drop a Vulcan ult on it and just see what happens. And turns out you kind of die.
Yeah, that's certainly a lethal combo you can't miss. And just going for a cheeky abduct, trying to get the mids, and nope. You can't out-confirm a Yuhang, unfortunately. You're only a little wee bug. As we see it, into the Nightmares coming out from Slither, but instantly cancelled just to not get CC from the Blades of Retribution. Kind of a little bit of interesting because apparently
the beats were also expelled.
He also seemed before to be able to get the Living Nightmares off, also used his own beads against the Blades of Retribution, so that's something that's a little bit interesting. I mean, instead of instantly cancelling that Living Nightmare, of course, he could have used it to reset his cooldowns and further initiate against Mike, who, well, didn't have his kit, didn't have a Blaze of Retribution, have mitigations against him, and continue that fight and win it in his favor, but yeah, just interestingly decided to instantly cancel it, I guess. Conga seeing a little bit of trouble in the jungle, but Assassinate connecting onto two, used on Slither, hits both. Conga in a little bit of trouble, left on one though. Asbo, 10-hand Shadow Fist, and Prana Onslaught available. Does have the blink up, but Blinken responds. The chase is on but Mystic Rush able to keep Conga alive. And Lina now looking a little bit out of position, does get a Tectonic Shift against him, but against
she's in no danger.
There's just no Yu Huang in sight, so just auto that wall down and she's free to walk away.
Yeah, it was a good play by Konga though. I mean, good play. He did get caught out, but he did manage to do some quick thinking, blink over to the red buff, and at that time he had Mystic Rush back available. But at the end of that, red buff gets invaded. Purple buff is currently being invaded. Blue buff might also be invaded by just like as here is standing around the corner. Although Konga is gonna
But
get
Conga
that buff.
is in the presence, so Asa may not be able to get to this in time, or may get it off of them, and they won't get it off of them. So Izu still walks away with another blue buff, and has finally got his Transcendence online. Proud of the guy.
Almost a 4K gold lead for Hakai currently, which is looking good for them. As you see Mike bringing Slither very low, and
Range
doesn't get
Throttle's
the shot
coming out,
off.
but the wall advantage, unfortunately, for the Chernobog, able to keep him just alive, whether he'll be greedy and take the next wave. He does have Living Nightmare available, so he can choose to just back and go for the next ult the next wave, and hey, I'm back in lane with full health. Earth Shadow coming out from Big Joe, and beads used, did not connect with any targets, and we see a Tectonic Shift coming out from Legasaurus Spectre. We see Dueling Dragons hits Big Joe, but unfortunately, just a little bit of damage from Conga, and we see the Scarab's Blessing coming from Cheeto. A very good save,
You
indeed,
can't
right
just
now.
go for a single target like that when Capri is just standing there looking upon it. You use your entire kits, and now we see Hakai wanting to punish them
Now,
for it.
Lina using Assassinate, going onto the Yuhuang Solzi, and Aza continuing to chase. Shiva Tandava coming out, Living Nightmare coming out from Sliver, onto doing a little bit of damage, but forced to run away. Konga now in a little bit of a catch, but will run away, and that's a goal fury for Hakai.
Yeah,
Or
this is looking very good for Hakai right now, who is gonna get the goal for I assume.
Slither is walking
Unless
up,
we
does
see some
alert them,
objective steals. We
but
have seen some objective steals
Chernobog
before.
one being thrown on the ground, Heart of Crystal.
Hakai managed to
Ooh.
secure an objective. Wow, that is so crazy. Holy.
Well, that certainly is different to considering the past deaths that have happened where I was informed that they did struggle to secure some objectives with some very nice gods that would, usually do those things for you. Not to say anything in that matter, but
What's crazy is that the Vulcan is even on the team as well. So, oh, he did use ults. Maybe he did actually get to secure it. That's crazy.
I don't believe he used it in that fight. Actually, he probably used
No?
it to clear a wave or something. You know how Vulcan players do. They can use their ults for the wildest things. You can throw an Earthshaker at a wave and just call it a day. But
Yeah.
I believe it was used for that engagement actually, and it seems like they did secure it just by themselves, and that unfortunate crystal did not connect. Blades of Retribution coming out from Mike does connect, but was not cancelled, so no stun onto Sliver, and he will walk away without a free ultimate.
Yeah, Blaze Reproduction is a bit of a funky ult. It's really good for 1v1s, but I would not do it when anybody, like when the enemy hunter has like a dash or something, because then it gets no value at all.
Well, I
But
mean,
we,
even in that sense, it's just the timing of it. If you can cancel it, and if you can get the cancel as soon as you can to get that stun, when you have actually connected the critical, that's your opportune moment to take that cancel, get that damage in, as much damage as possible. Did see a Living Nightmare come out from Slither onto the right side of the map, but nothing there really, so I'm not really quite sure why that would happen. Maybe just a misclick or something, but as you do see,
ooh,
Solzy picked up by Big Joe in the mid lane, completely soloed, and we do see Azus graphing with Izus currently in the solo lane, and Izus is just losing that a little bit. Tectonic Shift coming out onto Big Joe in mid, but once again, no follow-up as Konga kind of forced out by Lina, and Lina doing so much damage, and the Assassinate coming out, but Assassinate removed by the overhead kick and Mystic Rush just to get out. Legasaurus Rex being abducted does get the
yeah,
power reduction from Capri and will fall to a backfire.
yeah,
Aza being a
playing.
backcamp demon, and he's being forced to walk away with half his health as Hakai will start Pyromancer.
Yeah, it's just rough for VHS right now. If you're lag and you're running at a Vulcan who's 4 levels ahead of you, you're gonna get some damage off, but you're gonna get insta-deleted when any of the rest of the team joins up. Meanwhile, Konga is looking to help defend this purple buff, and Mike is in a bit of trouble here. Konga does not have ult yet and doesn't have anything to chase it with. Unfortunate for the side of VHS, but a good
But
defense from Konga.
they do get that purple buff in the end, even if we don't have the Mystic Rush available yet. Unfortunately, only 10% CDR coming out from the Robin at the moment, so those Mystic Rushes, when they're having to be used defensively, means it's quite a bit, considering that Mystic Rush is on a fairly high cooldown for an ultimate. So it is a little unfortunate to see them being used defensively, which means in engages like that, where Mike could easily be picked up by Konga, unfortunately,
Wow,
there's just no response that can be
look
met
at that.
because, well, he's
7k gold difference at 14 minutes.
that is,
That's a bit
yeah,
much.
that's
That's 500 gold difference per minute.
yeah, that's a lot of gold, and it only continues to get worse as the more objectives that Hakai are able to get by themselves. Like they haven't even.
Mhm.
I don't even think Hakai have lost any farm on their side of the map. They've just invaded enemies.
As you say, well, the
As I say
backgammons
that, Lionel lost her backcamps to Konga, but
I mean, credit to Konga for keeping up with as Solzy gets picked
wow.
off by Big Joe.
Shiva
Just
Tandava, and I assume an Earthshaker coming out from Big Joe, picking up Solcy. Just a little unlucky, and now we're seeing maybe a heavy duo rotation as Agasaurus Rex was over there and did force Mike away and back, but still more scraps in the mid as we're seeing a Mystic Rush once again being defensively used by Konga, forced away by Aza. And no damage coming out against that Shiva, while a lot of damage coming out from Hakai.
Mhm.
We're kind of seeing a snowball effect on this Shiva, even though I kind of
Yeah,
gave Shiva a little bit of iffiness for that pick. It's actually being a lot more prevalent and doing exactly what it needs to do until it'll, well, hopefully not hit that late game stage, and hopefully it'll continue to snowball and just do as much as it needs to with that Tainted Steel becoming a Tainted Breastplate late game. Leather unfortunately being purple invaded again, unfortunate for the guy. But
makes
yeah,
sense.
they've been, yeah, Hakai have really been on their game since with invading as much camps as they can, taking away as much farm and
Mm.
XP as they can
As goals being
against
looked at.
VHS. And they are two-man pulling Gold Fury at the moment with Lina zoning at the red buff. They will pick up red buff at 3-man, and now Lina turning their way to Gold Fury.
Big secure coming out from Hakai.
Big Joe just
Vulcan ult is just the best secure there is in the game.
pulling out an Earthshaker a little bit later than, and definitely not needed, but now we're seeing Lag making a rotation onto Mike. Blades of Retribution pull, Tectonic Shift coming out in response, but Konga is there, and oh,
Watch out for the Capri ults.
that's a body block you don't want to see, but what?
Oh wait, huh? That was interesting. How did?
Oh.
Alright. Turns out Mike has been a bit of a diet here.
Assassinate coming out from
the walls.
Lina, hits both Konga and Lagosaurus Rex. Scarab's Blessing will be used in response to the low health. Lagosaurus will fall, but will Konga fall is the next question. Looks like he tries to fight back a little bit with Nine-Hand Shadow Fist, but will fall, and
That was interesting.
Soloed!
Ah, the Phantom Shells already came through. I didn't see the effect though. Classic
so,
Smite Spectator.
So unfortunately, what was interesting there is that Smite Spectator broke a little bit. We do actually have a tier 3 Phantom Shell from the Capri, and that was used, which allowed the, which did allow for Mike to get out of that Tectonic Shift. Interesting enough, Big Joe throwing out another Earthshaker, as you always do, because that's just Vulcan things. Hits the wave, does not hit souls, unfortunately. And he will just walk away, as per usual. But we do see Hakai potentially maybe looking to shift towards a Fire Giant. Not exactly...
They can.
They can, but if they bring Mike over, they definitely can look for a Fire Giant Siege or even a damage check, or potentially even bait a few members around. I mean, we're seeing Lagosaurus just being ran down by the Shiva right now, caught in an emboldening sweep. And Konga just trying to do his backhand, unaware of the situation that's going on around him. Same with Aza's kind of, and they will do a little bit of damage onto Aza, but Aza is dishing out more damage than you think you are doing, Konga, and he will just run you down with that 3-level lead. Shiva Tandava coming out, immuning the Seismic from Kabrakan, and will force Tectonic Shift and Mystic Rush just to prevent the chase. Here comes an Earthshaker from Big Joe. Does not connect with anyone, unfortunately, and all members will walk out alive. But now, with all members of Hakai present, that can be a fire giant, and unfortunately, VHS will have to respond to that. But they don't have anything to
They
respond to
can't.
that. The only utility they have is the dueling dragons, but they're not looking to throw that away,
Easy's a
and
bit close though.
they're just looking to farm. Izu's kind of looking to get a little bit
Ah,
disrupted.
he's not
Blades
gonna
of
try.
Retribution used, but will be forced out, and their Fire Giant goes towards Hakai. Acer currently chasing Izus down, being able to do that with the damage that he has, and of course, that Tainted Steel. Solzy getting
Ooh.
picked up by Liner in mid, using Assassinate, and yeah, this VHS are just tearing at the little breadcrumbs of farm that they're being given by Hakai. I think it's just too late for them, honestly, at this point. I don't think any team fight really can help them recover. I mean, they're already 13,000 gold down in 20 minutes. That is just
That is a little bit nuts. Yeah. My
uh,
god.
it's just
What can you even do here for VHS?
you
Like,
can't do anything. You if you try to take a team fight, you just completely lose it because of the item and gold difference that there is. The only chance you really have is you just you can try a Phoenix defense stage, but all you can do is just wait for them
oh,
to make the
the
misplays
lag
and mess
is
up. Lag getting pulled in the
not bad.
Reduct, they will use Tectonic Shift in response, and a Phantom Shell coming out. Earthshaker already used Assassinate on the backline against Lagosaurus, but will not fall.
Will
Dueling
they get their
Dragons
first
just
kill?
misses Liner, and no kills. They Liner able to walk away healthy just because Dueling Dragons was missed, and yeah, a lot of things burst, but nothing met with because, unfortunately, of the differences. GC Conga just flying a little bit in the jungle, but not looking to step up too much, getting rid of a sentry ward.
Mhm.
And we see the Shiva brawling, able to use Shiva Tandava, going on to Solzy. Solzy forcing Aegis, but it will
Oh
not save.
my.
Unfortunately, mistimed and will not save him from the enhanced damage of Shiva Tandava and will fall.
Yeah, if we
And
look
I
over to the
mean,
player damage, Aza is being a menace in the back lines and just absolutely dishing out damage like crazy.
and
How can you stop the Shiva who's level 19 already?
yeah, I mean, all four aside from the Kepri, of course, who won't be
Here comes
dealing any.
Shiva again.
Oh, Slither, Blink coming out onto Slither, but tries to use Living Nightmare to get out, but just Loki's damage is just too high for him to be able to get anything off in time, and will fall. That is just unfortunate. Can't
Yeah,
get picked like that really at this stage. I mean, well, you kind of
uh,
can because it doesn't really matter anymore. You're that far behind that getting picked means that you only lose, well, your breadcrumbs of farm, but
mhm.
still quite devastating. Maybe some stat padding at the best, perhaps.
Yeah, it's just rough if you're VHS. If you're VHS, just yes, just I don't know. Try to get your mentals back in the game,
I mean,
and
we're 22 minutes into the game, and
yeah.
we've already got a solo laner and an ADC at level 20,
Hmm.
and we're seeing one upgraded starter already. The Tainted Breastplate, just the absolute king of solo lane items. 70 magical power, 50 physical power, and a lot of procs. Not a lot on the magical side, but still quite a lot of physical procs. And of course, you always have just hitting them and being able to provide that immediate 50% anti-heal.
Hmm.
It's just beautiful item for 2200 gold, really.
Yeah,
Actually, no, I think it's
scary.
2800. I might be
Oh, 20.
mistaken.
Oh wait, yeah, the very slightly. I don't remember actually.
Starter items are weird. They all
Yeah,
kind of really just cost around the same amount anyway.
yeah,
It's
that's true.
somewhere around there.
And a big rift check, it's lag and it's Soulsy very low because of
Salty
Aza.
shelled and forced to get
Oh,
out. Tectonic shift coming out from Lagosaurus Rex, but Blades of Retribution in response and will just fall. Now all members continuing on to deliver. He does get the Living Nightmare off, but that man just died to a Kepri too.
as we see now, Cheeto has more kills than the entirety of VHS. So that's gotta be rough if you're VHS right now. This is just a stomp. This is just a stomp.
Yeah, this is
They could have
just a
ended the
hard
game
stop.
already.
Yeah, I
Like,
mean, with 2 members down and they have the left Phoenix, they could easily just look for an end, but I think they're just looking for stat padding. It's also
yeah, it's a
walking
bit
up with
step
no
padding.
health.
Ah, as you think you get that VHS might get a kill. No.
Nope. Scarab's Blessing just Scarab's Blessing being pretty underutilized actually, only seeing 2 revives actually so far, but those
Here,
are
I think
2
it's been
deaths that
3.
have been prevented.
I think it's been 3 or 4 actually. Yeah,
Yeah,
Shido has been doing very well.
we've seen it used a couple of times, but only a few revives so far. But those are of course still
Ooh.
prevented deaths, and those are still prevented shutdowns, so that it makes up for it in the end.
Ooh, I gotta give a shout out to Cheeto as well. Big brain over here. As your team is winning so hard, and you're doing stuff so fast that you actually go and pick up an Emperor's armor very early, just so that you can siege make sieges way easier as well. As you're so far ahead, you're going to be
That
sieging quite early.
that that feels like a confidence play to me. I mean, of course, Kepri
Mhm.
is the engaged support, and you want to look for a route with your 3, or you want to look for an abduct to start a fight and take someone out to fight. But of course,
21k lead.
it just continues to get worse. It just continues to get worse the more this goes on. It's sad, and we're seeing another fire giant pull. Isus is walking up to this level 19.
Oh.
Does use a good, but not an
Oh, Vulcan all
Earthshaker.
secured an objective. No way.
Earthshaker used to secure, and Bad Out of Hell just not met. And now with the whole team, say goodbye to your life.
Lina
But
2v1ing on the
Slither,
other side. Ooh, this doesn't look good for Slither. If Lina
Conga did
manages to get
unfortunately fall,
close.
but Conga did
Ooh.
manage to fall, and Slither does not have anything available, but neither does Lina. Assassinate down, just a little bit of time, and no blink either. Largosaurus falling down in the middle fight. Solzy looking for a fight on Big Joe, and it just seems like a tectonic shift was used, but Solzy has nothing present. Got stuck on minions!
We gotta watch this
Will
1v1.
fall.
Who gets on top? This is the most important battle. Oh, never mind.
Oh, we didn't even get to
Never
see
mind.
that. As we see the Chernobog sit in the wall playing the time, and in that time, Hakai just looked to take the game and give themselves the first game of the
Kind of
set
troll
so
by
far.
Hakai over there, not letting the 1v1 play out. That's just no. I
Well,
don't
I
like it.
mean, they already had fire minions in. How exactly are you gonna tell the programming of the game to go, hey, stop?
Yeah,
Every
just wait
minion
a
in the
bit.
game, every fire minion in the game, freeze. We got a very important 1v1 that would definitely not go in the favor of the jungler to see how that plays out. Yeah, that's not gonna happen, unfortunately.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Well, I mean, from how much huge of a stomp that was, I mean, all members of Hakai just played really, really well, especially that Shiva able to keep Kama pretty fairly under control and not allowing him to you be able to show well what Kama has always previously done in every single set, which is just
Yeah.
take that first blood, get a lead, and just completely go almost full damage and just completely disrupt the enemy backliner and just
Mm.
absolutely play time. And unfortunately, we never got to see any of that. And if anything, we just saw Camazot trying to do things, but it's falling so short of everything.
Yeah, it's as I said, I thought I mean I liked VHS draft more, but I still said it depends on the soul lane. If this Shiva manages to run down the soul lane pretty hard and get the snowball going, then I think that that Akai is gonna probably run this game, and that's exactly what happened. The Shiva got ahead, and in every single team fight, he was just ulting on the backline, diving on the backline, and there's just nothing that VHS could do every single fight. Because you don't
Yeah,
have lag with
and
you most of the time, he's gonna die as well.
yeah, I mean, lag in response has to, with the Kraken and aggressive support, has to try to match what Ace is doing by engaging himself and going on the back line, but because Aza's already in there doing the entire health bar of like pretty much everyone in their back line, Lag is just not able to get any force with what he's doing, and the players are just not able to meet what Lag wants to do with his
Mhm.
aggression, and it all falls apart. Unfortunately, as backliners are dying, and then Lag is just left alone by himself with either an angry Vulcan or an angry Ishtar, just willing to rip him apart.
Yeah. And now, Laffy, my dear Laffy, what do
Mm.
you think that VHS has to do to at least get a better showing at the very least?
Oh, I think if they want to at least try anything, I think because we didn't see the main part is that as much as everywhere was a little bit of a struggle, I think Duo Lane had a lot of potential, and I think Duo Lane could have done way much more, and then could have had more of an impact. Just if they're able to get rid of that Ishtar, and I think if they maybe look to target ban that Ishtar, or even just take Ishtar for themselves as well. They do have the option to take Ishtar for themselves as well as we go into that next match. But so see if they can just like try and maybe play more around dual lane, get a lot better picks for dual lane, and just see if they can just force a dual lane pressure side and make those dual lane movements into the mid lane and see where it can go from there. Really,
Yeah.
because
And Hakai is also going to be pretty happy about their KDA now.
if we're if we're looking at things, I think Izus maybe just look to stick more towards maybe safer picks or comfort picks, because I imagine going against Aza must be something that is a little bit difficult for him. So him trying to play an aggressive snowball pick like Kamazot's, something that of course has always been seen and prevalent, it, it probably to someone versus Aza is probably just not going to really work well. So maybe look for a comfort pick or a safe pick that you know you absolutely do well on. That
Hmm.
can be tier, that can be RTO or anything, and just generally try to look to play safe while once again, as I said, just maybe prioritize Ishtar, or get Ishtar out of the way, and try to look to play around that dual lane a little bit more. I think would
Hmm.
help them a lot more better, at least.
Yeah. Um. No, we can go straight in.
Yeah, we can go straight into game two. I'm happy to go into game two straight to.
Yeah, we're rolling. We're getting this ball rolling. Yeah, I really liked. I mean, everybody on Hakai's performance, but specifically, I really like Cheeto. I really like Line and Nasa's play well. Mike did okay. Mike did good. Joe did good on the Vulcan, but I think those three
Joe
really
gets bonus
showed up.
points for the Vulcan secures though, right?
Oh yeah, that's something so huge. I mean, I'm not gonna say, but Mike needs to learn a couple things. If I'm gonna be honest here. But no, it's fine. It's fine. I'm sure the Vulcan, the secure wasn't the problem last time. But yeah, I mean, I think Cheeto is my favorite for game one as a support player myself. I really liked it.
Yeah, I think I gotta give it to Cheeto a liner as well. Yeah, I mean that Loki pick. I did say that Loki's just an okay pick, and but she was able to do it really well. Where I would expect, oh yeah, just probably just another solo kill with assassinate, but then we're seeing where she's able to line up an assassinate and just connect it to multiple targets, which can result in both members being killed. Something that gives it a little bit more edge, and where it's a lot more where I would expect a solo kill, it ends up being just a nice little team cleanup
Hmm.
scenario. And
Yeah, I mean, did we even see solo kills this entire game? I don't think we did. It was all just like good gangs from Lina. It was good rotations from Cheeto, keeping everybody alive. I mean, you gotta remember, VHS didn't get a single kill, and if you're a support capper, allow your team to not die once, you're doing a pretty damn good job. But now, as we're heading into game two, I think we're gonna see. I have to see like a Capri ban or something, maybe even
and
Shiva ban if you don't want to handle the pressure. Yeah,
I
Capri's
mean,
already
we
banned.
do actually see Kepri coming out as a ban from the side of VHS, but
Hmm.
well, are Hakai gonna meet anything else once? I don't think so. I think they're just gonna look
I think they're
towards
gonna
those
run the
bans.
same.
And VHS are just looking for target
Ooh.
bans. They don't want to deal with that Vulcan either, so they're saying goodbye to both Vulcan and Kefri. Hakai just doing what they do. They just normal
Mhm.
bans. They're not really too fussed about those bans, and well, they'll probably just be able to find something similar in responses. And currently being hovered at the moment. There's also another pick expected, and does get locked in by VHS.
Mhm.
Surprised they didn't go to actually opt for the Ishtar here, and that does leave Ishtar open for the moment being. Of course, I
Yeah.
would understand why you would want to prioritize Najjar, and Najjar a very good jungle pick right now, but would you rather take Najjar over an Ishtar? I don't really think so, in my opinion.
Hmm. I would for VHS just because of the fact that Najah is a. You have a pretty easy game plan then. You just have to play off the Najah, play off for ults, and then you can fight off of there. But Kai is looking for a Moja and a Ishtar in response.
Run it back with the Ishtar. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. And that
Slap the
duo
emoji in
lane
there.
is just that duo lane
Yeah.
is just screaming, yeah, we want to win lane and we just want to continue doing what we did last game. If you want to hand over the duo lane to us, that'd be very nice, thank you. Emoja does actually get locked in, of course.
They will all
Deadly Emoja.
obey their
Mhm.
goddess.
If you're good at Emoja, you're deadly. That's why she's always prevalent, despite her stupidly ridiculous nerfs. Even if River's Rebuke, maybe 160 seconds, it's
Mhm.
still River's Rebuke at the end of
Ooh.
the day. There's nothing that can change that. And VHS opting to hover the tier, maybe taking it away still.
Yeah.
So
I
giving
mean,
it
Izus
towards
is a
Izus.
pretty. It is a tier injury to say the least. I think this is most played COD. In
Still get
general,
locked in.
just get locked in. I do want to see one pick very, very badly though, and that's gonna be the Cupid. I think Cupid does really well against Umoja. I think Bacchus. I don't. Bacchus is okay here. It's actually pretty good here, but I would have loved to see Cupid. Bacchus does a lot of things as well against Umoja.
Yeah, I mean he has the 50% inbuilt anti-heal towards her healing with Mending Waters and even her passive. He has the knockoff immunity for being able to prevent Umoja Riptide. He has Belly Flop, which he can use to get out of River's Rebuke. He can use it to keep Umoja from preventing to healing her teammates for a short duration of time. So it is perfectly good, but at the same time it can have its own flaws. I mean, Belch can be cancelled by a Moonstrike, so it's just
Oh,
something you have to consider, but still a really good
they're
pick
just running
overall.
the
And
same thing again, but with Umoja instead of Capri,
if
which is
if it
even a big downgrade.
if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Shiva being hovered, which in terms of
It
the
is
solo
time
matchup,
to cast out
I'm
the
currently
wicked.
seeing that that's favoring the tier at the moment. Shiva has
Hmm.
no, aside from his dash, he does, and Shiva Tandava, he doesn't really have a way to stop tier from using Fearless and throwing Shiva into that Fearless himself, as he of course has to use Emboldening Sweep to grab the wave and group him up, and what Tyr can do, he can just walk in front of Fever, Fearless him into the wave, and that's a lot of damage for him, so we might actually see a different outcome this time on the solo lane,
I
but
mean, I think the response to Hakai's drafts from VHS is better this time, as they're kind of like countering what they're doing with the Najah, with the Tyr and the Bacchus. But I still really need to see and Cupid is banned out, which I really needed to see this pick. I don't think that there's anything that
wow, and
Backline can pick.
we're
Oh,
going for a
Loki.
third target ban as
Yeah.
Lina's Loki being banned out. Of course, Loki's just a god that you never ban, and there's kind of a reason for it, but well, if you gotta make the case of target banning and trying to single out their players so that you can try and get the quickest win as possible, then go for it, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
If it's your best chance, then do what you gotta do, I guess. But then, that's why we don't have one tricks. We always have multiple gods we can play in the role that we're playing. So then you can't really get target banned like that.
Interesting. The Baba Yaga over. How do you feel about this?
I like it. I mean, it prevents. Baba Yaga can do a lot of things in this scenario. Of course, she's a top 3 mid. She's not Vulcan or Yu Huang, but she's still really good once you get to that mid to late game stage. I mean, so Home Sweet Home, if you get the right window of time, can prevent a Windfire Wheels without needing to use beads. Can prevent a Tier Fearless, but does leave her, and of course, does kind of help in terms with being able to use her 3 to get away from a Bacchus Leap, but not enough response time to be able to get away from a Belch, so it's a little bit on the not great side in terms of being able to escape, but in terms of raw damage and being able to immune abilities and damage, especially if you get a River's Rebuke into a Home Sweet Home, that's a lot of confirmable damage, and that's just a lot of setup for this Baba Yaga. So I like it. It's a really good pick for the moment, and I don't see anything that could go wrong with it, really.
Yeah. I think it's a fine pick. I think it's good. On her Agni, that is very interesting. Huh.
Agni, I'm alright with it. I mean, he can immune Emboldening Sweep, he can immune a Riptide with his dash. Kind of gets if he gets caught within a Blaze of Retribution, it's bad, or if he gets caught within a Home Sweet Home, it's bad. But otherwise, not too bad. I mean, Agni has the Rain Fire. He has those bombs, which just is a lot more distance than a lot of those characters currently have. I mean, all of those characters are pretty. They are pretty mid to close range, so not a lot. Kind of a lot of success in that Agni being able to just keep with that range poke, and especially with the combos that he has, being able to get confirmable damage with the fearless combo or anything. And on her, I don't really know how to feel about on her. I mean, you can immune Blades of Retribution with your own shifting sands, but and you can, of course, you do have the jump to be able to cancel Jolt if you end up able to catch it, but I'm not really too sure about it versus Ishtar. We'll just see how it plays out, I guess. I'm not really too favorable for it. And the last pick we do actually see is Ratatoster, something that has actually able to sneak through both games unattended, and now because of the Loki target ban, I guess Lion is just looking to go all out at this stage, I guess.
Yeah, I preferred VHS comp slightly, but that was before I saw the rat. I think that the rat's a really good pick here. Because if I think like Agni on her, I think they can escape from Shiva. They're okay, and they can just get out a bit quick. But Rat can chase those escapes down really badly, and I think that's exactly what Hakai needed. Now, who do you favor here?
Yeah, I mean, I think this looks like in terms of comp. I think even though they do have the range against Hakai, I still think it kind of goes towards Hakai because if you can get that Agni Dash, if you can get that Path of Flames forced, you could just get out through the Cosmos and just at Agni say goodbye to his dreams, unfortunately. But at the same time, a lot of the range, CC, and hard damage that VHS do have put them in a pretty strong favor, but the lockdown of Hakai is just something that's just unmatchable, really.
Yeah, that is true.
Looking in terms of builds so far, I mean, we're just seeing the Shiva run it back, like the exact same build as we saw last game, and we saw we're just from Hakai, we're just seeing a lot of the similar builds that we already saw before. Baba Yaga looking to opt for Warlock staff to stack first instead of Book of Toph, while Agni looking to dive into Flat Pen first, probably an early Divine for that Yamoja, and we'll probably get that online by the time Yamoja will be rotating to mid lane, so that makes sense. And yeah, just a little bit of interesting varieties. We do see a Bluestone as well. Here, opting for Fearless at level 1. Something that's kind of frowned upon a little bit, as most tiers end up usually taking the 2 first for the being able to hit the melees and then being able to hit your heal on the archers and the melees combined, which is usually a lot more damage than Fearless, but I guess it depends.
Double jump.
Seeing a double jump coming on onto Mike, only one hit zone. We do see an impel into wall, but nothing there as we see solo lane level 2. Isu's
Lina
having an
still
upper
waiting.
advantage, but Lina coming in for the gank does unfortunately not connect with the Acorn Blast, and that will mean that Isus will walk away, but not without taking a little bit of Shiva damage, and Totem will go in the favor of Hakai, and Hakai also currently taking the Interceptor away from VHS, of
Mhm.
course, as they're able to. They unfortunately don't have the lane presence for it, and they will get it. As Conga meeting
Ooh.
rotation, as we see a jump onto Mike, and we do see the Sash connect, looking a little bit in danger. Fortunately, the leap not from Bacchus not connecting, just a little too far away, but still able to pick up Mike, no problemo.
That was a
And
bit of
that
a
will
missed
be
opportunity there for VHS. I felt like they could have killed Cheeto as well if they stuck. If she just didn't chase Mike there and just belly flopped the emoji there. Doesn't look like she had a lot of Omi to escape. A
no,
bit of a
and
missed opportunity.
that it is a thing you have to consider with your emoji. You have to be a little bit careful with your Omi as well, even though she isn't, of course, she wasn't level 3, so she doesn't have Riptide available, but unless he did, Isu's just getting a little bit caught out by Lina, but will fall a little bit low, but completely fine. That will mean that there will be a blue invade in response, and Tyr does not have the teleport opted. Of course, the blue will still fall, but that teleport will get him back to lane, no problem, missing no creeps aside from his blue buff. But yeah, I mean, if Yamoto had opted for Mending Waters instead of Riptide at level 2, then yeah, I agree. They could have committed onto the emoji as well, and that would have been potentially 2 kills to that Najjar. It would have just been an absolute lead. But
Mm-hmm.
if you're happy to de-initiate and just take the first blood where you can, then that's
Yeah.
kind of fair. I mean,
Ooh,
it's still a lead in itself. We do see a pillar, but unfortunately a missed impale, and we just Mike taking a lot of damage, as it does seem like Cheeto did opt for Mending Waters, blocking a few autos, helping Mike heal, but not healing as much as that on her is with his death toll, unfortunately.
Yeah. This is a good look for the duo side here, as
The other
as
side
Slater hit the
actually
whole.
just
Ooh.
showing a lot more pressure than we thought
Ooh.
they would. As we once again see
Ooh.
a belly flop, we see Dash does not unfortunately connect, and that means that the Jolt will get Mike away, but a lot of damage with the pillar into Impale being a confirmed combo for him with that Bacchus Belch. So yeah, they're able to, even if they're just like ignoring the wave and they're just forcing themselves onto Mike, that's a lot of pressure in the duo lane just by looking at Mike. Just they recognize that last game Mike was just being able to provide all that pressure just by walking up his Ishtar and clearing the wave, and they're like, well, with the combo we have, we can just look at Mike and just try and take him as low as we can, so then he can't clear the wave, and then we can clear the wave free because he's poked out with all the damage that we've done. So it's nice.
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting to see that shift from game 1 into game 2, knowing that they know what they have to focus.
Yeah. Gold is pretty much not changed after First Blood. But Hazza is looking for an invade on this blue buff, but Con is here in time, but Lina is joining in as well, looking to ruin the party over here at the solo side, and Hazza has this pressure, but ooh, a
Lawbringer coming out from
missed ult
Aegis,
from
but does
Zeus.
miss. Shiva Tandava also
Ooh.
coming out, just keeping Lina healthy, nothing too much there, but well, a little scrap for the blue buff, but unfortunately, Lina's presence is just a little bit too strong for that Ninja, and not looking to contest that. Laser Retribution coming out from Mike will force the beast from Slither, does not enforce the shifting stance, however. So, just a little interesting trade, but something that could mean that we could see a Cheetah rotation. If we see an aggressive on her jump, we could see a Cheetah rotation with a River's Rebuke, and that could just spell a death for Mr. Slither.
Yeah, Mike has some pressure here, even though that Slither does have a bit of a level lead on him. Meanwhile, the mid and the jungle are looking to do Scorpion, which is a good job for VHS. Those support for a lot of gold. Meanwhile, see a gank and duo happening. Well, Bacchus is ready to join in as well, but Mike gets the dash off in time.
Mike does
Ooh.
get Shawl, and unfortunately the Belch doesn't connect, and neither does the on her jump, unfortunately, so nothing will be met, and he will just back and get those full devour. As in fact, both ADCs able to get their Devourer gauntlets online, so they're pretty even when it comes to builds and stacks. So nothing to be worried about yet. But however, we are seeing on the solo lane quite a bit of a deficit. As we see a tier 2 teleport was opted for by Zeus, and now Asa just getting his soul leader started.
Yeah, Easy is still with a mystical earring, waiting, and he does have mana sustain, so he's not scared about losing blue buffs all that much. I think Asa is gonna look to invade this blue buff again, but Konda's
But
nearby.
the blue buffs do certainly help him, though. I mean, it's not
Mm-hmm.
only just the mana sustain, the
Ooh,
MP5. What we're seeing through the Cosmos coming out from Lina. Slither, a little bit out of position, does use a shifting stance onto Mike, does not find the kill. And now Slither here should unfortunately fall, and he does to Lina.
yeah.
Very nice cleanup from a fight that started out just a little bit in Mike's disadvantage. But unaware was Slither, and here comes the Ratatasker.
That's what happens when you burn your beads instead of your ult. It's
Yeah.
just your ult is in such a like so much short of a cooldown that you have to just, if there's a chance that you need to ult instead of a beats, you need to do it without her. At late game, his ult just becomes free beats. That's even
Yeah,
more
I
important
mean,
than the
shifting
damage.
sands on a 75-second cooldown, and
Mhm.
well, beads is on 180 seconds. That's 3 minutes versus every 1 minute 15 seconds. I'd definitely be using, definitely would be using the shifting fury over the over beads at any point if I were to be met with the Blaze of Retribution,
Mhm.
especially because if you do end up using it into Thunder Fury into Retribute Blaze of Retribution, you can just
Get free
completely take
damage.
you can just throw that damage out and you can just completely be aggressive with it because they have
Mhm.
no way of CCing you until well Sands of Fury ends. So and that's going to be waiting quite a bit. That's the 2 seconds in which you're taking quite a bit of damage or dealing damage in return,
Mhm.
and at 2 seconds is a lot of aggression as well. So
For
yeah,
sure. As you do
the
see
totem
Hunter on the cams, just looking at this totem really closely over here. I mean, kind of looks like, hey, he has a mustache, doesn't he? Is that a
um
mustache?
I
Oh,
don't oh,
oh,
hello
oh,
Baba Yaga. You're not
hello.
quite the totem we're looking at.
As you see, we have the best at production here over at GSL. Come join the server, please, if you haven't already. Yeah, like the red lines. This is a mustache, right? Should be. And the eyes. I
Yeah,
never
I
noticed that.
mean it
Oh, and we started.
and when we're back, and we do see a Scorpion do being cleaned up by Hakai and the mid camps as well. A lurking Legosaurus looking at Big Joe, not able to connect the belch though. Nothing able to be met because of that. You can't miss those belches. Those are quite important for hitting. Even if you even if you do only have to hit one tick to get the stun out of belch, it's still that one tick that you have to hit, and that's the one tick
Mhm.
that means the most to be able to get that CC. Which, by the way, I think they should change that. They need to like. I know Bacchus isn't in a great. I know he's just in an okay spot, but let's be real. He shouldn't need to require just the final tick of belch just to stun. I know it requires his chug and stuff, but like, come on, it's a little
Ah, it's
silly.
fine.
It's fine, but
Ooh.
sometimes when it's like when Bacchus is good, it's just a little bit silly sometimes, you know?
Mm-hmm.
We
Ooh.
do see Sans
Yep.
Fury onto Lina. Shell is met in response. Lina in a little bit of a chokehold does get the under
Ooh,
jump
good
as
ult from
he's required,
Konga.
but a good windfire ult
Wow.
from Konga and Willful
Oh my,
and
and he gets out.
and just able to scrape out of the River's Rebuke just because of where he started that windfire wheels. What a play! That
Yeah,
was
this man is cracked in jungle. Holy sheesh. I'm not gonna swear because it's a PG channel, but yeah, that was just on the edge, hitting it perfectly, and at the same time, you drop down, and because he gets sent back, he dodges the emoji. This is just a great play from Konga. And now we see the reaping of the benefits, getting a purple buff invade. Yeah, that's a great play. They could even look for a goal fury here if they opt to, but I think they'll just take their wins and get out.
I don't think exactly. Look, man, just don't ask me about ability names, okay, man? It's been 7 years, man. At this point, some of them are just too ingrained in my head at this. I have the 5 games on Ishtar, okay, and I don't know. I just know okay, okay. I know Joel and I know Blades of Retribution. That's all I need to know, basically. And then yeah, I can tell you Yuang's kit just literally
Fine
off
in
the
mid
top.
lane.
See, we are seeing quite a bit of a scrap in mid lane. Cheeto caught in a bit of CC. We do see some hail flyers from Agni, and we do see a home sweet home in response, but just throwing damage out there, basically. Nothing too much, but we do see Lina on the prowl. Maybe Nigosaurus Rex looking to step up, but no, just nothing there present, unfortunately.
Yeah, from this, I, I gotta like I want to see Lina more active on this rat. Rat's like a very good early game goal. I know she like ganked duo and like, got a very good gank off, but I've not
I
seen her
mean,
ult a lot.
you go getting to him now, Slither. We're in some really odd positioning, but just not really looking at anything. It seemed like they may have shown some interest in that in their red buff as well, but
Looks
no,
like
just
Lag is running back to duo lane again. I wonder what he's gonna do.
as we just see
Oh,
an Impale push away from the wave again from Slither, but
ooh,
that
pyro
means that
pickup
Mike's
from the
just going
side
to
of
go up.
Hakai.
We are seeing Hakai group up, knowing that knowing that because of that ward which showed lag on the map, we do mean that does mean that because they know the sports health in the left side of the map, they can just look for a free Pyromancer. Get it done and over with.
Mm-hmm. That was a good call out by Hakai to look for this pyro. But we see a bit of a fight in left and a fight in mid. Just looking to scrap around a little bit.
Just a little bit of damage scraps, but we do now see VHS coming for their Scorpion. Interestingly enough, we're 12 minutes into the game. We aren't seeing as much of a large deficit as we did see in the first game. It's actually a lot more slower than it was last time. I mean, we saw 7k gold down at this point, and at the moment we're only just about seeing 800. Laser Retribution coming out from Slither. Jolt does connect from Mike, as he does opt to use the long range autos. Slither forced to jump out, and just another day, another scrap again.
Yeah, there's not much you can chase around with his honor. He just jumps away, and you can't really chase it. This gold fury is gonna be the focal point in the next, let's say, 2 minutes.
Yeah, yeah,
Has to be.
I mean, Pyromancer is down for the moment, and no one at this stage. Well, I could say no one at this stage is able to do a fire giant, but I mean, I've seen 12-minute fire giants before, so it's not entirely out of the equation. But very likely, it's just going to be sent now. Fights are now going to be centered around duo lane and that Gold Fury. If either opponents can get a pick onto the mid lane or even even on the ADC as well, that's straight to Gold Fury. Get that thing up, get the objective out of the way, get that gold.
Yeah. I'll call it now. 14 minutes, 50 seconds. Hakai is gonna look at gold fury. That's gonna secure it. But as you
Mike,
see,
interesting, invading purple buff met with the Sons of Fury, but does Aegis and able to get the Jolt out. Baba Yaga does jump in response. Legosaurus jumping onto the Big Joe, but
this is not good for like VHS that we're using so much now. You get the
River's
River's
Review
Brew.
coming out from Cheeto, but nothing. No follow up. Oh, everything's already been burned, and their Legosaurus is just too healthy. Nothing to be able to look for there.
Hakai will just take some buffs, leave real quickly, and just probably say, "Hey, let's look at that gold fury again real quick." Or they're gonna like just push out some lanes and just sit on the lead a bit. But VHS are gonna be the ones that are gonna pick it up. But Cheeto is on the case. Now the Konga meanwhile gets a solo kill over a Big Joe in mid lane. This is a great opportunity.
Cheeto looking to contest, but not able
VHS
to meet
get the gold
anything.
fury.
VHS getting the goal fury. Cheeto interrupted out of his Riptide with
Ooh,
both. Oh, but
that's a
good
good
Blades
win.
of Retribution able to keep Cheeto alive as it CCs both. Well, the entire team of VHS and forces the beats from Slither. That's a team play right there. You
Hmm.
recognize that your Cheeto CC'd into a shifting sands, CC'd with the impale, gets belched onto, and has his Riptide interrupted. And well, the only thing you can do is try to help your teammate get that second Riptide through just by pulling a cheeky cripple and stun onto the entire enemy team. Very, very nice.
That was a good play by VHS, recognizing that they're not running straight back to gold. We can just do gold ourselves then. And then Hakai basically got punished for it because Cheetah was the only one around able to do something, but he unfortunately got CC'd out of doing anything useful. Oh, this Shiva does so much damage. My lord.
And Izu's just not doing anything, any damage, unfortunately. I would say that's kind of maybe a Soul Eater effect, but is it even Soul Eater at that point? I mean, Soul Eater is only 20% health.
I mean, he
I
is a
think it's a
full soul
combination.
eater behind, build-wise.
Yeah, I mean, Tyr is a full item behind. He did opt to wait for those mystical earrings out and did go
Ooh,
straight
Mr.
into
Production, can we
stride.
see how much golden hand
That's
the tier has? Not as much as I expected. I expected like 2.5k at the very least, but you can still buy like almost a full item with that. Means that the soul lane has a pretty huge like gold deficit comparing. Another
laser
waste.
retribution coming out from Mike. Does hit connect the jolt, but Cylinder just not looking at anything. Goes for a shifting sands on the wall.
Line in the air.
Wave does hit an impale. Liner in the air through the cosmos, just too far out of range. Does hit the blink and gets the
Slither with
acorn.
good
Does force
jukes.
the Aegis.
Slither with good jukes.
Slither
He
able to
survives.
Slither
Mag's here to
able to
clean up.
just run about his tower. Tyrannosaurus may be able to pick up the kill here, but we do see a Mending Waters and a Shell come out from Yojo. We also see a River's Rebuke blocking Lagosaurus Rex, and Mike just able to keep alive with
Cheeto, the best
very
support
nice
in the
approach
league.
kill. Home Sweet Hope coming out onto Lagosaurus Rex. Slither already left, so not much there for Big Joe with that Home Sweet Home, but wow.
I'm sorry,
Now,
I'm saying VHS is getting support diff in a minute. Lag has been doing okay with the Vacus, but Cheeto has just been putting on a show. Just,
Cheeto has just
oh my.
been performing so much more better. That was a very, very clutch save. Mending Water Shell and a River's Rebuke just a further block. That is a true support player right there. I think if I've ever seen one.
Hmm.
Truly dedicated to saving your teammates at any cost.
Yeah, it's
Even
interesting.
if it means you have your River's Rebuke on that 160 seconds cooldown, though I'm presuming she does have a Fable S. Oops, please tell me production.
Yeah, she does have it.
Yeah, so 10% CDR, so that does mean it's
It
brought
did
down
catch
to...
a slight nerf though.
Yeah, it does mean it's brought down just a little bit
The passive,
in cooldowns, but
yeah, it got lowered to 6%. Yes.
yeah, just only 10% CDR at the moment. So that does mean River's Rebuke sits at like 145-ish seconds cooldowns. So
River's Rebuke
yeah,
is not affected by cooldown.
actually it is. One of the ability. It's the only ultimate
Huh?
ability. River's Rebuke is the only cooldown ability for Emoja that's not inherently affected by Hiromi.
It doesn't get. Wait, does it get cooldown? Am I stupid?
Yeah. Omi affects
Oh,
cooldown only affects the regeneration of Omi, but it does affect River's Rebuke. Yeah.
oh, okay. Alright, I was a bit confused there. I read something that doesn't confuse it.
Ooh,
Oh,
we
and
do see a
Congo
little bit of
gets
scrap. We already
engaged.
saw Intoxicate from
Oh,
Megasaurus
yeah.
Rex, and we saw a Blink from Conga, and the Ringfire wheels connect and does take him away. We see River's Rebuke, and we saw just a little bit of a Through the Cosmos. We also saw a Lawbringer coming out from Mizus, but nothing matched, and we do see a Blaze of Retribution as well from Mike, but nothing in response. And now Aza just running it down with a Shiva Tandava and doing so much damage, and now in response, Izus absolutely CC piling them atop and say goodbye to Aza, but also say goodbye
Ooh.
to Soul as Lina able to get into that backline, just hitting it just a little bit with an just a little Acorn Blast that needs to be hit to kill him, and able to walk away alive. As now they focus onto Mike. Mike, having no escape available, does have to bead and will bead the backer spells, but still met with an easy
Oh,
hit in response with the Fearless. Aegis not going to save you, and unfortunately, Cheeto will also fall, and
looking for fire?
VHS
That's a bit risky.
potentially looking for maybe a risky fire zone. They do ward it down and get dewarded, but I don't know if they. I mean, Isus is almost on full health, so they could potentially pull this, but they still have two members prowling, the mage and the jungler themselves. And Lag just falling a little bit too low, now forced to back out, and Firejai
Should
will
have
be
run
dropped.
gold. Yeah, it was. Even though like two people are still alive, you have Lina with an ult. You can't really start a fire here because you have to defend. You have to like push them away, and then fire does way too much damage at 90 minutes, 20 minutes. They should have just gone for a gold, and they couldn't. And the Hakai couldn't really have contested it. A nice probable invade by Lina and secures it and kills Konga. Oh, that's gotta be rough.
That is unlucky. You don't want those for those purple buffs. You want those
Yeah,
speed
definitely
buffs.
not.
Unfortunate. Lina taking a little bit of damage with the Agni
Ooh.
Bombs. Does fall under health, but not enough. Salty force use both the relics from a blink with Aza, and now in Shiva Tandava, no one can stop him aside from the CC. But the whole team is here, and
Oh.
here comes a Lawbringer and a Desert Fury from the on her onto Aza, and Aza with enough anti-heal. Legosaurus Rex doing a bit of support tax with the Intoxicate. Not needed, but I guess if you want to support tax, you can. That's fine.
No, I was definitely needed. But meantime, Akai does pick up the Gold Fury, which was a primal, if I saw it correctly, which is gonna help them like do these firefights more recently, and does help them quite a bit in my opinion. But as does get taken down, and meanwhile, I think that's pretty much worth. Gold is basically it's a 1k lead for Hakai. Doesn't really matter. XP difference doesn't really matter. They're really fighting on equal ground here, and as we head into the late game, whose comp do you favor? There has to be pictures in here.
Slither having to be a little bit careful as Laser Retribution does come out, but Mike just able to pump out auto after auto, and Slither does not have any relics in response and will get soloed.
Yeah, you don't walk that way, buddy. Just be like,
You know, walk
don't be
this
that cocky.
way, talk this way.
Hey, I'm walking here. That's
I'm
what Slither
walking
said.
over here.
While immediately getting gunned down like a gabagoon. But yeah, that's you just play it safe. Walk the safe way. Don't walk like that.
But
Yeah.
coming back around to what you said, I mean, I'm still kind of favoring Hakai's comp, even if Aza is kind of trying to do as much as he can with his Shiva pick and just walking at them. Much of what we saw as well in game one, it's still, yeah, and he is being met with brute force with, well, the whole response team of VHS when that does end up happening. But I mean, I still think the lockdown and the power, the raw potential power from the starting the fight still goes in favor of Hakai, in my opinion.
Yeah,
I
it's looking good.
I
I'd
think I
say.
think I think a one River's Rebuke, especially with a Home Sweet Home, or a River's
Mhm.
Rebuke with a Shiva Tandava, and if you ever need it, then a Through the Cosmos just for a finisher is just going to be an absolute killer against VHS. Well, only three of them can really escape, one being having to be forced to use an ultimate to get away from that rebuke.
Mhm. Yeah, River's Rebuke is a absolutely massive team fight ultimate that can just always turn a fire on his head. But I don't discredit Bakazol as well. A good Intoxicate can really mess you up as well. As you do see, the supports hit level 15, which means that they can pick up their starter upgrades. Only Linus currently level
Cheeto
20
being
can have their one.
caught not under a shifting stance, and now we do see a Lawbringer come out, and we saw a Blaze of Retribution as well. Cheeto will fall as we see it through the Cosmos in the backline, but being hit with an Onk and having to back out. Mike dealing a little bit of damage onto Lag, but does mean the Jolt is down. Big Joe forced to Aegis has been CC'd. Windfire Wheels in the back onto Mike, but Kong just too unhealthy and will fall to a liner lurking in the back. Jesus being forced to walk away as his mantle does get proc. Slither just too low. It's Halsey forced to use his relics and will fall to the
Oof.
liner as there's too much pressure. Aza coming back in to reinitiate the fight as he blinks onto Izus. Izus being met with Fearless does immune the
Triple kill.
Emblazoning Sweep, but Lina picking up the kill, and that's a triple towards Lina, and that's a Fire Giant start for Hakai. Is Slither Slither and Lagosaurus Rex too low to be able to contest anything? Lina's just continuing to walk at them.
And Lina's an absolute menace in team fights. Those acorns are hitting for just a little bit. Well, she got this protector of the jungle online. She is feeling strong. Yeah.
And tanky as well, with
And
the
tanky.
protections that it gives as well. We're feeling good with those physical props, even if it's not a crazy amount. It's still just a nice amount to give an edge, but definitely the power that makes the game changer.
Yeah, definitely is a nice fire giant for the side of Hakai. We can just look at tower sweep and maybe even if they get a pick, look for a phoenix, or if VHS messes up, look for a phoenix here. Maybe even at the game. But I think that Hakai is just gonna look this gold fury, look at maybe the tower in mid, and then slowly push ahead and try to get this game in their hands.
Yeah, I mean, right, minions are already kind of pushed up in right side, so they can definitely look for Gold Fury, look for the mid lane minions as well. So they are also pushing up, and then yeah, they can just clean up the towers. If they end up getting a pick, then they can just, even if they even with the left side, they could, if they get a pick, they can just go for that left Phoenix and potentially even look to end the game. They do pick up the Gold Fury, and seems like all members are choosing to walk it down the left side, so they're just able to get that back in time. Interestingly enough, though, there isn't, and nope, now the focus does seem to be shifted towards the mid tower. Lina just looking for a little bit of clear, I guess, to see if maybe they can try and trick some of them into thinking they're maybe sieging a Phoenix at this stage, but for now they're seeing that all four members are present within the mid lane and are looking at the mid tower. Lina now a little bit out of position, does get a shifting suns, but the impale unfortunately misses, and so does the belly flop. So not much resistance or damage met there, as Hakai will just continue to siege the rest of the remaining towers, and VHS will just let them do as they please for the moment being.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. As we see Lina just doing a bit of trolling, split pushing over there, but we see a fight happening on the
I
left
mean,
side.
we could see Congo fall here at
Yeah,
goodbye.
he doesn't win the 1v1 if the beats are still up, but he couldn't even get his ult off. Or he did get a ult off, but he he unfortunately missed it, I think. Otherwise,
I
the
don't
beats would have
even
been
think
used.
I don't think he had enough opportunity to fire it off. I think he tried to fire off when
No,
fired
his
at
ult
the
was
last
used.
second. Oh yeah, no, but I think he tried to get it out at the last second, but we didn't get to see it visually, and Ratatosker damage just too much, and he falls. Unfortunately, nothing can save you from an acorn, a Thistlebark acorn into the 5 stun, the 5 acorn stun, and increased damage that hitting that acorn blast allows. That gives you the increased damage to the rest of your abilities. It's just saying
Ooh,
goodnight.
nice impale.
Shifting Sands onto an impale onto Lina does a decent amount of damage, but the same amount of damage is just met back with just one acorn blast. That says a lot about junglers, I think, in my opinion. If
Yeah,
if
junglers
a
are kind of strong right now. I
yeah,
kind of think.
if a combo and an auto can be met with just one ability with an acorn that just slightly changes things a little bit, then yeah.
Interesting also is the build from Slither not going into any sort of crit, even though we see crit very prevalent, as you can see by the build from Bike. It was basically exclusively crit with the Devils and with the Nexi.
Yeah, and I
Yeah.
mean that certainly is something interesting. I mean, on her can definitely absolutely flex into crit. I mean, and Feeble on her's passive, it is just flat pen, or is it percent pen? Uh,
Mm-hmm.
on her. Let me think about you. Are you? I think it's flat. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's just.
Yeah, it's Flapan on the passive.
Yeah, so I mean, on her it has 20 flat pen, I'm pretty sure, for just hitting his auto attack. So you can he has a kit that and especially the shifting sands as well. Shifting sands also provides just a little bit of a power with a little bit of a debuff as well, along with that 40% slow. Like Hunter can absolutely flex into crit if he wants to. So
Mm-hmm.
I don't really see any reason why you wouldn't want to opt into crit on Hunter. So
Yeah.
a little
Filmo,
bit.
very good item as well. His last like auto from the ult automatically applies it, so it's like one of the best interactions with Honor itself. You do
Reducing
see
about 5 breaks
Izu's
now. We
dying
do
deep.
see Isus getting hit deep. Does use the Lawbringer as we saw Blades of Retribution and
Oh, lag is cut out.
Lagosaurus expects will unfortunately fall, and we saw Home Sweet Home. Shiva Tandava being used, but everyone already leaving kind of, and well, Aza will just use that to heal his team as they siege a Phoenix
Yeah, they
with
can go for this.
no real threat from anyone. I mean, Desert Fury's already gone.
Ooh,
We do still
although,
have a Rain of Fire, but still nothing to matter. Izus does teleport in, does get on back, but not able to catch anyone. Everyone too grouped up in a shifting sands, unfortunately, not in his
ooh,
favor either. And well, Hakai will just walk away, and they're kind of still semi-healthy as well. They can, of course, opt to set up this next Fire Giant or bait someone, as it is now respawned and is an enhanced Fire Giant, which will just be an absolute key. They were able to give props to VHS. They were able to defend that Phoenix relatively fairly well, but
EFG.
they had to use a lot to get it away. EFG now just being completed by Hakai, and
It's
we're now
almost
seeing it through
done.
the Cosmos. Slither kind of
Ooh,
caught. Izus now caught. Beads from Slither has to jump over the wall, and Izus forced to use Lawbringer, but Aza met on the response from Shiva Tandava. Does hit. Lina getting the blink, just about short misses of it, but he will be caught up. And Intoxicate coming up from Lagosaurus Rex. We saw a Blaze of Retribution. Lagosaurus Rex will fall, and we see a home sweet home from Big Joe. As now, a blink from Aza does not catch Solzy, unfortunately, as he dashes away. Windfire wheels to match getting into base and will get him away from that Ripped Rebuke. Solzy trying to drop some Brainfire down, but not able to connect,
oh
and
my.
does fall as a result of that, and Slither being caught in the background, and now that's game 2 towards Hakai. Wow.
A great performance from Hakai there, and just exactly what they needed to win the game.
In both games as well, they're just absolutely able to. I mean, as much as game 1 was, of course, the stomp, and they did what they needed to do, but still, for game 2, even if when they had to play it slow, they had to play it a little bit patient, still able to come out on top, and still able to do what they need to do with the picks that they had. And yeah, that's really why I favored their comp. Their lockdown is just their lockdown, their engagement, their raw power is just so much more stronger than VHS, unfortunately, and that will eventually lead to their demise.
Yeah, I think VHS performed way better in game 2 though, so that's props to them for sure. I felt they even secured a goal for and put Kai in the backseat for a little while, but one bad call and you kind of get slapped back, and then you can fall back, and the snowball happens for the enemy team, and then that's just how it goes. This is how a Smite game is.
Uh, um, I've just I gotta point it out, but Aza has doubled Izus' player damage in both games.
Hmm.
That's really, really surprising, to be honest.
Yeah, first time appearance from him in solo as well. You gotta watch out for this man and his Shiva. He's been putting in a bit of damage.
Maybe a potential contester for Sped, perhaps?
Nah,
Maybe?
wouldn't bet on it.
Oh. Oh.
I
We're,
call
we're,
him out.
we're gonna have some like Galeria
Glaria beef.
in-house betting schemes going on here.
But now
You
this is
know,
a very well played game from all of Akai basically. Cheeto again having a great game, but I think this time this was definitely the line I show this game. I have to say.
uh, uh, but one when well, like you said with Cheeto in the game 1 though, but Cheeto with the game 2 just
Game 2 is also coming
oh.
in clutch. Exactly. But
I think
I
I
love
think
Lina has it for me this game.
Lina has it for you. I think we were just Cheeto just showing how just to be a support and keeping your teaming
Hmm.
alive. Good initiations with Rivers Rebuke as well. Yeah, Cheeto takes the MVP for me for
Hmm.
both games overall. Really, that is just
Hmm.
absolutely stellar player.
Yeah, absolutely. Was I don't disrespect it as well. Mike also getting a solo kill. Of course, he was brilliant this game as well. Again, very brilliant. And Joe even showing some decent qualities in mid as well. Definitely a
Yeah,
team to look out for.
to say that a lot of the players were playing a lot of different roles than they usually play. They were able to perform to a pretty good standard. So definitely, well, maybe they could look at this as a main roster in the future if they have high hopes for it. Perhaps. I mean,
Hmm.
things are always subject to change, and of course, as we do come slowly to the end of the Galarian season,
Yeah,
yeah,
we're almost at the end. Oh, that's crazy. I keep forgetting about that. This is
yeah,
there's
not
one more
far
game.
now.
Yeah, next week is the last game before the tournament starts. With don't forget it's a double Elan tournament though, so there's gonna be a lot of games played.
Yep.
But
Hey,
yeah,
I mean,
who who was your MVP for game? Let's say both games altogether.
it has to be Cheeto. At the end,
That's a fair
I can't.
pick. Yeah. I think for me, I'll go Cheeto as well. I like Cheeto's performance. But we're heading over and we're gonna be doing some interviews here. And right now we have a couple of friendly people named Big Joe and Cheeto.
Hello.
Hello,
Hello there.
hello.
Big
How are you
Giuseppe.
all? How are we all?
Ah, I love to see you too. Anyway, congratulations on the win. That was a quite a dominant performance, especially game one.
Game one was a showcase on how to play Smite game.
Yeah, I mean, we got a lead and we just ran with it. It was,
Yeah.
honestly, that's all it was. We got a really early lead. I think we were up by 5k at like 10 minutes, and from there it was
Yeah.
just abuse of an early
Mhm.
lead.
I could eat my
That's
brains
true.
out because I had Cheeto just with a Kepri out, just hovering all game. So he let me just run rampant, really.
Yeah, I mean, me and Laffy were both extremely impressed by Cheetah's play, not only in the Caffrey, but also the Emoja, just getting some clutch saves in and just protecting the backline like he's supposed to do. And then I think for both of us, you were the MVP both games, even though the Asa and Mike, I think everybody had a great game. Lina game too. It's just great.
I'm just
Uh,
like,
yeah.
I don't understand how people are not banned. Like, they're letting Kepri through, like, you
Mhm.
know what I mean, against Cheeto. He's a good Kepri player. Then they let the Emoja through against Cheeto.
Mhm.
The
Yeah,
Emoja
I
player,
mean,
you know, like, surely you start to look to ban some certain gods that players are cracked.
Look,
I don't
Yeah.
know.
once people start to respect those 2 picks off of me, I'll stop playing them. Honestly.
I mean, of course, you do have to look at target bans, and I mean, we did see for that game too. We saw a lot of target bans, but of course they're in the wrong places. But I mean, you have to really consider your choices when it comes to conquest. I mean, you in the first round, you've only got 3 bans, and well, that means you either have to sacrifice trying to take away a good pick from from a good player potentially, or potentially let through one of the top dogs of the game. You know, it's a very conscious choice you have to make, and a
Yeah.
very brash decision you have to make in that moment.
Yeah, I mean, in my own
You
opinion,
can't
like,
get rid of everything.
yeah, you can't. And, like, sometimes, even if someone's really good on one said god, it doesn't mean per se that they're going to do good in that game just because they have a good god. Like, it's all based on team orientation, what comp you're going to play around that god, and there's all sorts to it. But, I mean, like, there's a lot of gods right now that are just really predominant in the current meta, and
Mhm.
it's really hard to like, it's impossible to ban everything.
Yeah.
Oh,
There's
God,
Because
so
yeah.
many
even,
strong
I mean,
gods.
you look at the top bans in these games, right? You've got in game 2 is the best example, right? You've got Kepri ban, you've got um, a Vulcan ban,
Mhm.
Guan
Guan Yu.
Yu, Camisots. I can't even remember the others. But then at the same time, still gods
Loki
like
and
Rat,
Yu
yeah.
Guang, I believe.
But then still gods like
Mhm.
Ratataska, Neja,
Or
um,
Emoja.
yeah,
Just crazy.
Yamoja, Ishtar. There's still so many good gods.
Mhm.
Yeah. No, I agree. It was nice to sort of bounce back from last week. You know, we had a bit of a rough game, and it was a good bounce back. We shuffled the team up a bit. It's something that Cheeto had a talk to the guys about. Helped me out, and yeah, we're just trying some new stuff out.
Yeah, it looks like the new stuff is doing quite well.
I'm just trying to tell Joe to trust me and shouting at him for using his ult on his own red buff when I'm stood next to him.
I fat fingered it, alright? Leave me alone.
Joe single-handedly cost us a whole fight by fat fingering his ult on his red buff. Honestly,
I did as well. As soon as I got Dover, and I was like, oh, I've cost her.
I BM'd the shit out of you for that.
He did. He had a right go at me for it. I'm like, what? I was like, I'm sorry, mate. It was an accident. Jesus Christ.
I'm like, it's not good enough, Joe.
We moved though, boys. We moved.
Yeah, I mean, we could absolutely see. Yeah, with that rush and a little bit of changes to the lanes and where you put your players, you seem like pretty fairly confident. I mean, are you going to be moving with this forward, or are you still going to be trying things out before you have?
We're still playing with things, I think. We are still playing with things. I mean, no matter where we put Lina, she's going to play well. Whether it be solo, whether it be jungle, whether it be mid. Joe's very good in flexing into multiple roles as well. And then you've got Mike and Azza as well, who have just shown that Mike was previously playing mid for us and Azza was playing ADC, and we've had literally 4 role changes in the space of a week, and we're still working on it. So plenty of scrim time, plenty of team talks, plenty of talking about drafts. It's all the work in progress, but moving towards
I mean, you do
finals,
you do
basically.
You do have still quite a few little bit of time left before the finals will start kicking off. I mean, we already do have the fixture for upper division for the moment. We don't have anything for lower or hard P, so but we'll probably likely seeing that coming them soon. So you do still have quite a fair bit of time to test things and make any changes where necessary before those games will come in.
I think in particular, it's not just a matter of working on our own team. I think it's also analysing the other teams and how they play. I think that's a big part of my game.
Yeah, I agree. Be like Jose Mourinho of Smite game tacticians. But no, like I think Defo improved. It felt good. It felt clean, especially game 1. Like it was, in my opinion, it was a perfect game. Really, yeah. Just gonna keep testing things and just keep going with it until we get that perfect formula for end of season.
Yeah, it's the Joe classic. Just having a rough entire season and popping off at the end.
You know that.
It depends if you can make it through the early game of the tournament. At least we've got 2 chances now.
We'll see you in the final, Chief. That's all I'll say.
I'd love to.
Kuman versus Hakai, let's go.
I'll just don't end well.
We've got a lot of work to do. We've got a lot of work to do. Let's look at next week's game, and then we'll see how we go from there, right?
Yeah, I agree.
Joe likes talking big. I'm a humble man.
Yeah, definitely. It was a very nice game for both of you, and also shout out to VHS, who was missing Koslet though, their captain. Definitely hadn't cupped. Yeah, Ulux also not there. We definitely had to struggle a bit with their availabilities, but all in all, played it pretty well game 2, and I had you in the back for just a little bit, but fortunately didn't last very long. But anyway, I think that's it for the stream.
So thanks for casting and stuff, guys. Appreciate it.
Yeah, much love to you all, and much love to the people watching on the Twitch stream.
Yeah,
the streamers. Make sure you drop those subs.
Any subs all appreciated, all funds.
Just sure everyone in chat are gifted to, right?
Drop those bitties to see Big Joe's titties.
Okay, I think we're gonna end it at that. But anyway,
well played to everyone on both games, and we're happy to, of course, be able to be a part of this, and thank you everyone for coming along. Nobody's for Big Joe's titties, please. Or maybe your choice, of course. It's your bits. It's your money after all. I mean, maybe
we've seen enough of Joe's body already. but
It's never
if you
enough.
know what I mean.
GG to VHS as well.
Yeah. Anyway, I think that's gonna be it. Have a good one, everybody. Bye.